السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله النبي الكريم. أما بعد فيا عباد الله، يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه العزيز بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: فقالوا ربنا إنا أطعنا سادتنا وكبراءنا فأضلونا السبيل ربنا آتهم ضعفين من العذاب والعنهم لعنا كبيرا. صدق الله العظيم. We were talking about what our heart needs to be cleaned from in order for it to be a qalb salim, in order for it to be a pure and a sound heart. And there are some attributes that we need to remove from our hearts. And we had started that topic, and today, inshallah, we will complete it. And that is getting rid of the love of leadership and fame from our hearts. Getting rid of love and leadership from our hearts. The final quality that the heart needs to be clean from, should be clean from, to be considered a qalb salim, to be considered a clean heart. We need to get rid of the love of leadership and fame. However, I've mentioned it before too. Just like when we talked about wealth, being rich is not a problem. Wanting wealth and having an attachment to the wealth is the problem. So being famous and being a leader, there's nothing wrong with that. Wanting fame, wanting the power of authority and leadership, that's what's wrong. Remember, wanting to be rich versus being rich. Wanting to be rich, the desire and attachment to money, that's a problem. Being rich is not a problem. Being famous is not a problem. Wanting that fame and that following, that desire, that is what's wrong. And because this is the last one we'll be touching here, inshallah, as a reminder, we are looking to purify ourselves. We're not here to go do everyone else's purification. Okay, when we listen to this lecture, okay, I'm going to think about all the people that had this fault, and then I'm going to go tell them off later on. That's not why we're listening to this lecture. We're listening to this lecture to get free our heart from it. Okay, he said this, now I'm going to think about that person. See, he does that. Now I'm going to go tell him off. No, the purpose of studying these diseases of the heart is so that we can know if we have them. And then we need to get rid of it, not to judge others. We're not here to judge others. So it is absolutely wrong for us to accuse another person of having love for fame or any other spiritual disease of the heart. No. I need to clean myself. I have to answer for myself on the Day of Judgment. We mentioned it before too. يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغني. On the Day of Judgment, you're going to run away from your father. You're going to run away from your brother. You're going to run away from your children. You're going to run away from your wife. You're going to run away from your friends. You're not going to care about anyone. Everyone's going to be occupied with themselves. I'm only worried about myself. I'm accountable for what I do, not what they do. Not what others do. I am going to be responsible. And I'm going to have to answer for things that I did, not what others did. So today we're going to go over the causes, the disease, the bad feeling of wanting to be a leader and wanting to be famous, and how to get rid of it, inshallah. Ka'b ibn Malik radiyallahu ta'ala, he says, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, ذَأَبَانِ جَاعِيَانِ. If you were to let loose of two wolves, أُرْسِلَا فِي غَنَمٍ بِأَفْسَدَ لَهَا مِنْ حِرْصِ الْمَرْءِ عَلَى الْمَالِ وَالشَّرَفِ لِدِينِهِ. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, two wolves that are starving, that are hungry, جَاعِيَانِ, that are hungry, they're starving, and a wolf will eat anything that it sees. Two wolves that are starving, that are hungry, they're starving, and a wolf will eat anything that it sees. Two wolves, two wolves that are starving, that are hungry, they're strong being, and a wolf will eat anything that it sees. Two wolves, two wolves that are starving, that are hungry, they're strong being, and a wolf will eat anything that it sees. Two wolves that are left free among sheep are no more destructive to them than a man's desire for wealth and honor is to his religion. Meaning a man's desire for honor and for wealth is more destructive to his religion than letting loose two wolves and they're in a flocks of sheep. They're starving. They're going to eat or destroy all of the sheep and all of the flock. But wanting honor, wanting izzah, wanting dignity, wanting a status, wanting prestige, wanting a position, and wanting money is worse for a human being's deen than those two wolves. And another hadith, a very lengthy hadith. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala he narrates, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن أول الناس يقضى يوم القيامة عليهم. The first person that will be questioned on the day of judgment, رجل استشهد, is a man that was martyred in the battlefield. فأتي به فعرفه نعمه فعرفها. A person, he dies in the path of Allah, he becomes a martyr, he becomes a shaheed. He becomes a shaheed. When the Prophet and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about in the Quran, أولئك الذين أنعم الله عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء. That the best of people on the day of judgment, the best of people in this dunya are the Anbiya, was-Siddiqeen, and are the Siddiqeen, and the Shuhada, the martyrs. Then was-Salihin. Number 3 is Shuhada, a man, رجل استشهد, a man who died as a martyr. On the day of judgment he will be brought. فَأُتِيَ فَعَرَّفَهُ نِعَمَهُ. He will be reminded of his blessing. فَعَرَفَهَا. He will recognize his blessing. So Allah will ask him, فَمَا عَمِلْتَ فِيهَا. You died in my way. You died in my path. Did you know what you did? Who did you do it for? قال, that person will respond, قَاتَلْتُ فِيكَ حَتَّى اسْتُشْهِدْتُ. O Allah, I fought in your path until I became a martyr. Allah will respond, كَذَبْتَ. You're lying. وَلَكِنَّكَ قَاتَلْتَ لِأَنْ يُقَالْ جَرِيء. Rather, you fought in the path of Allah so people will say you are courageous. You fought in my path. You fought supposedly in my path. قاتلت, you fought because you wanted people to say what a courageous man he was. فقد قيل ثم أمر به فسحب على وجهه حتى ألقي في النار. So it will be said to him, it will be commanded that drag this person by his face until you throw him in the fire. Drag him by his face until you throw him in the fire. Another man, وَرَجُلًا تَعَلَّمَ الْعِلْمِ وَعَلَّمَهُ وَقَرَأَ الْقُرْآنِ. Another person will be brought. He teaches knowledge. He was a teacher. He was an ustad. He taught people how to recite Quran. He taught people this deen. فَأُتِيَ بِهِ, who will be brought. فَعَرَّفَهُ نِعَمَهُ فَعَرَّفَهَا. He will be told, you remember all of these things that you did? فَعَرَّفَهَا. He will recognize it. قال فَمَا عَمِلْتَ فِيهَا. Qu'est-ce qu'elle est? Who did you do it for? Who did you do all of these things for? What did you do? تَعَلَّمْتُ الْعِلْمَ وَعَلَّمْتُهُ وَقَرَأْتُ فِيكَ الْقُرْآنِ. Oh Allah, I taught knowledge for your sake, and I learned it, and I taught it, and I recited Quran for your sake, Ya Allah. Allah will respond, كَذَبْتَ. You're lying. وَلَكِنَّكَ تَعَلَّمْتَ الْعِلْمَ وَلَكِنَّكَ تَعَلَّمْتَ الْعِلْمَ لِيُقَالْ عَالِمٌ. Rather, you learned this knowledge, you taught this knowledge so people would call you an alim. You did all of this so you would be called an alim. وَقَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنِ لِيُقَالْ هُوَ قَارِئ. And you recited Quran and you did tilawah of Quran so people will call you a qari. فَقَدْ قِيلَ ثُمَّ أُمِرَ بِهِ فَسُحِبَ عَلَى وَجْهِهِ حَتَّى أُلْقِيَ فِي النَّارِ. It will be said, it will be commanded, okay, drag him by his face and throw him in the fire of Jahannam. وَرَجُلًا وَسَّعَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ. And third person will be brought. These are the first people that are being punished by Allah. The third person will be brought. And he will be given an abundant amount of wealth. He will be given a lot of wealth. وَأَعْتَاهُ مِنْ أَسْنَافِ الْمَالِ كُلِّهِ. He will be given all types of wealth too. Different types of wealth. فَأُتِيَ بِهِ. He will be brought. And he will be shown all of his blessings. And he will recognize his blessing. فَمَا عَمِلْتَ فِيهَا. And then Allah will ask him, who did you do all of this for? قال ما تركت من سبيل تحب أن ينفق فيها إلا أنفقت فيها لك. Oh Allah, I didn't leave a path that I saw in your way. I saw an opportunity in your masjid. I saw an opportunity for your madrasa. I saw an opportunity for charity. I saw an opportunity for relief work. I saw opportunities, and every opportunity that I saw, Ya Allah, there isn't a single opportunity that I saw except that I donated for your sake, Ya Allah. I gave in your way, Ya Allah. قال كذبت, you're lying. ولكنك فعلت ليقال هو جواد. Rather you did all of this so they will call you Jawad, they will call you generous. What a generous man he is. What a generous person he is. And that person will be commanded to be dragged by his face until he's thrown in the fire of Jannah. So wanting this position, wanting to be a teacher, wanting to be, so people call you something, they will be the first people that are punished on the day of judgment. They will be ordered to be dragged along on their face until they are cast into the fire of Jannah. What are some signs of love of fame? Let's start with fame, inshallah, then we'll go to leadership. What are some signs? Now these signs we're trying to look from within ourselves. And inshallah we'll talk about the solutions and how to get rid of it. It can be difficult to know whether or not we are doing it for fame or not. However, as we talk about this, one thing that I'm going to mention before I continue. If you are going to do good, you have the intention to do good, you're going to recite Quran, you want to pray your tahajjud prayer, your nawafil prayer, but you're scared that you're going to be showing off, pray. Keep doing the ibadah. Don't stop doing, don't let shaitan convince you that no, I'm not going to teach Quran no more. I'm not going to become a student of knowledge no more. I'm not going to memorize Quran no more. I'm not going to learn deen. Don't let shaitan trick you. Keep praying, you keep doing it. So don't let it prevent you from doing ibadah. Obviously now if someone has reached such a status where he's doing so much work of deen and then he realizes maybe his intentions are not pure, then that might be a different case. However, for the general public, for majority of us, shaitan will play all types of trick. He will play all types of tricks on us. Okay, you're showing off, don't read Quran. No, read Quran. Fight it, but recite Quran. Pray your nawafil prayer. Don't refrain from praying, keep praying. Don't abstain from praying. So here are some signs. Number one, a person who always wants to be praised by others, even if we know the praise is false. Even if we know the praise is false, we want people to praise us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, لا تحسبن الذين يفرحون. Don't think about those people who are happy with what they are given. They're happy with whatever they have. وَيُحِبُّونَ أَن يُحْمَدُوا بِمَا لَمْ يَفْعَلُوا. And they love, this is in the Quran, وَيُحِبُّونَ, and they love to be praised for things they never did. فَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّهُمْ بِمَفَازَةٍ مِّنَ الْعَذَابِ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Don't think that they are protected from the punishment. For them is a severe punishment. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. What do they like? They like it. وَيُحِبُّونَ, they love it. أَن يُحْمَدُوا بِمَا لَمْ يَفْعَلُوا. When they are praised for things they never did. Number two, the deciding factor of what you do, what you say, and what you wear gets you more recognition. Okay, I'm going to dress nicely. I'm going to put my imamah on very nicely because I want to be recognized. I want to stick out. I'm going to say words that get people to love me. I'm going to do things that get people to love me. I'm going to dress in a manner that gets people to look at me. So I make my decisions based off of recognition. The way to assess this would be to ask yourself, if there is no recognition, would I wear it? Or what are people going to say? Am I going to wear these type of glasses? I don't want to wear it because people are going to say, these glasses don't look good. No, we don't care about what people say. We're not supposed to worry about that. So is everything based off of recognition? Am I dressed up? Am I wearing that certain cologne, that certain ittar because I'm going to get recognition? People are going to look at me in a certain manner. The way that I dress, the way that I talk, the way I do and say things. Or people, now if there's no one there, am I still going to do it? When the teacher is there, we're going to show off, we're going to work hard. When the teacher's not there, we're not going to work. For example, when a person wants to start a charity, or he wants to do good, but he will only do good depending on how many awards he can get. If he can't get any awards or recognition, I'm not going to do it. Man, I've been doing so much, but no one recognizes me. No one gives me a plaque. No one gives me an award. No one gives me a trophy. I'm not going to do this no more. People aren't recognizing the hard work that I'm putting in. We only need recognition from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, اعملوا فسيرى الله عملكم ورسوله والمؤمنون. Keep working. Allah says, I'm watching you, Allah is watching you, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is watching you, and the believers will eventually see it. If it's not in this dunya, it will be in the next. We will get our graduation ceremonies, our certificates, and our awards on the Day of Judgment in front of the trillion of human beings that are there. So if there's no recognition, I'm not going to work. So we're doing things for recognition. Number 3, I sign. A person's definition is defined and determined by his or her recognition. A person's definition of success is determined by his or her recognition. Okay, if I have a large following, I'm successful. If I only have 2-3 people attending my lectures, I'm a failure. There is a famous muhaddis by the name of Abdul Rahman ibn Mahdi, rahmatullahi alayh. He said to Bishr ibn Mansur, Kuntu ajlisu yawm al-jum'ah. I give halakas, I give lectures. Every Friday I give halakas, I give lectures. فَإِذَا كَثُرَ النَّاسِ فَرِحْتُ. When a lot of people attend my lectures, I become happy. وَإِذَا قَلُّوا حَزَنْتُ. But when there's only a few people who attend my lecture, I become sad. Only 2-3 people came to my lecture. فَسَأَلْتُ بِشْرَ ibn Mansur, rahmatullahi alayhi. So I asked Bishr ibn Mansur, what do you think? هذا مجلس السوء فلا تعود إليه فما عدت إليه. He said, this gathering is not good for you. Don't do it again. He said, from that day I never gave again another halaqah again. Bishr ibn Mansur was telling him, now you giving the halaqah is controlled by your emotions of happiness and sadness. When there's a lot of people, you feel like giving that lecture. When there's only a few people, you don't feel like giving that lecture. This lecture is no longer a majlis of khair for you. This lecture is no longer a gathering of goodness for you. This lecture is now a gathering of evil for you. It's a gathering of evil for you. It's a gathering of bad for you. It's a gathering of having a bad effect on you. Because you are now giving that lecture to get numbers. Okay, more people come, I'm going to give my lecture. You should be able to deliver the lecture in the same manner in front of 5 people as you would in front of 1,000 people. Numbers don't matter. And when numbers start mattering, then that's a problem. Number 4. A person who's not willing to correct their public mistakes in a public manner. Okay, when you do something good, you want everyone to praise you. And when you do something bad publicly, you don't want to adjust the matter publicly. What is done in private can be solved in private. What is done in public must be addressed in public. When you do something wrong in public, you have to answer for it in public, in front of the community. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he was setting a maximum amount of mahr, of dowry. And an old woman corrected him in front of the entire gathering. And she said, since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not set a maximum, and the Quran mentions people giving large amounts of mahr, how could we limit it? Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala immediately recognized his mistake. Allah has not set a maximum of mahr. Who are we to set a maximum of mahr? If people want to give large numbers and $10,000-$15,000 in dowry, who are we to stop it? But Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala made a mistake in public. He was corrected in public. He responded in public. I messed up, I made a mistake, I'm not allowed to set a maximum. So whatever is done in public is handled in public. This is why you need to be very cautious in what you say in public and what you do in public. What are some cures and solutions before we talk about the level of leadership? Number 1, make sure that there are some good deeds that you do that no one knows about. Make sure there are some good deeds, some actions that you do that absolutely no one knows about except for you and Allah. هَلْ لَكَ سِرٌّ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. Do you have a secret between you and Allah? No one knows except for you and Allah. It's a secret, no one knows. Your wife doesn't know, your friends don't know, your brothers don't know, your sisters don't know, your colleagues don't know, your friends don't know. You, as a matter of fact, to such an extent, your left hand doesn't even know what your right hand did. So have some good deeds that absolutely no one knows about. It's literally for the sake of Allah. So now you will get absolutely no recognition in this dunya for that action. In this world, you won't get any recognition because absolutely no one knows unless you go and tell someone. So when you are doing something in private, that's between you and Allah. It's a secret between you and Allah. Don't go and tell someone, you know what I've been doing for the past 2 years and no one knows. Don't tell anyone. That is your secret between you and Allah. And the famous poem, هَلْ لَكَ سِرٌ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَ أَنْتَ اللَّهِ. Between you and Allah, no one knows. Do you have a secret that no one knows except for you and Allah? So we should all have secrets or good deeds that no one knows except for you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2, try to hide your good deeds from others. Don't post and let everyone know about the good deeds that you're doing. Now obviously if it's a means of encouragement, don't lie to yourself, but if it's a means of encouragement for other people to do ibadah, or other people to do good, then it's okay. So for example, if you did something good, then go ahead and let others know you did good to encourage them to do it, but don't post it every single time you do it. Hada Shaykh Maulana Zakaria rahmatullahi alayhi says, it is sunnah to go home and pray your sunnahs and nawafil. The Prophet ﷺ only offered the fard prayers in the masjid. The Prophet ﷺ offered his sunnah prayers at home. He didn't offer it in the masjid. Now the Shaykh Maulana Zakaria rahmatullahi alayhi said that nowadays we should pray our sunnahs and our witr in the masjid for 2 reasons. Number 1, because we are lazy and we might not pray it when we go home. Number 2, by you praying your sunnahs, you're encouraging others to pray their sunnahs. By you praying your sunnahs, you're encouraging others to pray their sunnah. That is why when you donate, if someone donates to encourage others, we say, okay, I gave 5,000, I gave 10,000. Not as a means of showing off, but to encourage others, look, I can do it, you can do it too. So doing goodness to encourage others to do, it's okay. Number 3, always remind yourself, if people knew your reality and the sins that are hidden, no one would want to talk to you. Everything we present to the public is fake. And the social media and advancements in technology and videos and cameras and editing, everything is literally fake on social media. All these famous people, they're all fake. And so unfortunately some people in this deen have commercialized this so much, where they make it look like it was an amazing gathering when absolutely no one was there. And I've seen it with my own eyes. On social media, it looks like, oh, mashallah, an amazing event. People were there the whole time, 2 weeks. They were just learning the seerah of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They were just learning Quran. And mashallah, when you go there, only the first class was attended and no one attended any class after that. But on social media, everyone, mashallah, 100 people listened to the seerah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What an amazing job. So social media is very deceiving. That person who's on that camera or that person that knows what's being presented to the public knows that it's fake. We know our inner reality better than anyone else. So remind yourself, I commit so many sins that no one knows about. I do so much wrongs that no one knows about. If everyone knew my reality, I would be an outcast to society and no one would talk to me. Everyone has their faults. كُلُّ بَنِي آدَمَ خَطَّاءً. Every child and every son of Adam alayhi salatu wassalam will commit sins. So these 3 things, inshallah, will help get rid of the love of fame. The next topic, love of leadership. This is a very scary topic. People think that leaders are just sitting on a throne passing out orders. Maybe the kings in the old days did, but nowadays that's not how it works, and that's not how Islam looks at leadership. Wanting a position of authority and leadership is not something we should want. Islamic position of leadership is that it is best to avoid wherever possible. Whenever it is possible to avoid leadership, avoid it. Only if there are others who can fulfill the responsibilities. So like in the time, generally we don't ask for leadership. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala says, the one who doesn't want to be the leader but has the skills of being a leader, he deserves to be the leader. Whereas in the Quran you find Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, he said, اجعلني على خزائن الأرض. He told the king, I want you to make me the treasurer. So you ask for position if you don't think anyone else is fit for that responsibility. However, in general, as Muslims, we should not want to be leaders if there's someone else doing it. The reason why, again, if there is no one else who can step up, then everyone else should be like, okay, I'm ready to offer my services, I don't want to be the leader. Why? Why is it discouraged to take leadership positions, especially Islamic? Because it's a very heavy responsibility that a person will be questioned for on the Day of Judgment. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala, he says from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إنكم ستحرصون على الإمارة وستكون ندامة يوم القيامة. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala, he says, you will have a desire, you will be eager to be a leader, but on the Day of Judgment it will be a cause of regret for you. إنكم ستحرصون على الإمارة وستكون ندامة يوم القيامة. In this, you have a desire to be a leader, but on the Day of Judgment it will be a means of regret. Auf ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala, he says that the Messenger of Allah, Abu Umama radiallahu ta'ala, he says from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ما من رجل يلي أمر عشرة فما فوق ذلك إلا آتاه الله عز وجل مغلولا يوم القيامة يده إلى عنقه فكه بره أو أوبكه إثمه أولها ملامة وأوسطها ندامة وآخرها خزي يوم القيامة. Abu Umama radiallahu ta'ala, he says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no one who is a leader of 10 or more people, or in other narrations, just a leader in general, or more, there's no one that's going to be a leader of people except on the Day of Judgment he will come to Allah. On the Day of Resurrection he will come to Allah with his hand chained to his neck. If he was good to the people that were under him, he will be freed. Or he will be brought to his destruction by his sins. At the beginning, it merits blame. In the middle, it produces regret. And at the end, it will be humiliation on the Day of Judgment. Why do people really want to be leaders? Unfortunately, there's a false belief that everyone is cut out to be a leader. Everyone feels like, no, I can be a leader. Everyone says that I'm cut out to be a leader. And not having the skills or the ability to be a leader is a fault and disgrace. Abu Zar radiallahu ta'ala, who is a Sahaba and the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, قلت يا رسول الله, Ya Rasulullah, can you make me a leader? Can you make me responsible? I want to be a leader. فضرب بيده على منكبه. He hit my shoulder. He said, يا أبا ذر. ثم قال يا أبا ذر إنك ضعيف وإنها أمانة وإنها يوم القيامة خزي وندامة إلا من أخذ بحقها وأدى الذي عليه فيها. يا أبا ذر, you are weak. And being a leader it is amana, it is a trust, which will be a cause of shame and regret on the Day of Resurrection, except for the one who takes that responsibility and he fulfills the duty in the way it was supposed to be fulfilled. وفي رواية, in another narration, قال له يا أبا ذر إني أراك ضعيفا, I see you as someone weak, O Abu Dhar. وإني أحب لك ما أحب لنفسي, and I love for you what I love for myself. لا تأمرن على اثنين. O Abu Dhar, do not accept leadership over two people. Don't do it. And do not become a guardian of an orphan's property. You're not cut out for it. I'm telling you, I love you, but this isn't for you. I don't want you to be punished on the Day of Judgment. Abu Zar, this is not for you. Who's Abu Zar? He's a companion of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is telling Abu Zar radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. Regarding the Sahaba radiyallahu ta'ala ajma'in, we say what? Radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah. But even then Abu Zar is told, oh Abu Zar, you can't be a leader. Number two, There's a false belief that our leadership is in a position of ease and not in a position of serving. So we want to become leaders so we can pass out commands. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? Sayyidul Qawmi fi safari khatimuhum. The leader of a tribe, the leader of a group of people while they're traveling is their servant. The leader is supposed to be doing the most serving, not being served. The leader is not the one who's just being served. The leader is the one who's doing the service. That's a true leader. You are their khadim. They're not your khadims. You are their khadims. You're responsible to take care of them. And number 3, the third reason why people want to be leader. The failure to understand the punishments and the consequences of failed leadership in the hereafter. We mentioned the hadith already. But the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, whosoever becomes a leader on the Day of Judgment, he will come with his hands tied to his neck, and he will only be freed if he did good. Some cures and solutions, and inshallah we'll end with that. If we are in any position of leadership, any position, an older sibling, a teacher, a parent, any position of leadership, we must understand that it is our job to serve, not to be served. As a father, I'm serving my children. As an older sibling, I'm serving my younger siblings. As a parent, I'm serving my children. As a teacher, I'm serving my students. We are always in the service of others. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ is the leader of this ummah, the greatest human being to ever set foot on the face of this ummah, the face of this world, the greatest of greatest human beings. The Prophet ﷺ was the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the Sahaba radiallahu ajma'in would tell you, will attest to it, that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ was the hardest working person amongst the Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ didn't just command the Sahaba radiallahu ajma'in to go on the battlefield, he was with them, he was in front. The Prophet ﷺ didn't just tell the Sahaba radiallahu ajma'in to dig the trench or the ditch in the battle of Khandaq. He ﷺ was there. The Prophet ﷺ didn't just command the Sahaba radiallahu ajma'in to take the bricks or to build his masjid or the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. He was there helping build the masjid. The Prophet ﷺ was not just sitting on a chair and passing out commands. As a matter of fact, the Prophet ﷺ didn't like anything that made him look like a leader. The Prophet ﷺ used to give a lecture on the tree trunk. His back would be on a tree trunk, and he would be sitting on the floor with the Sahaba radiallahu ajma'in. People would come from the outskirts of Medina, and they would come and they would say, Ayyukum Muhammad, who's Muhammad? They couldn't tell that he was the leader. When the Prophet ﷺ walked into Medina Munawwara for the first time ever, the people, the Ansar radiallahu ajma'in, who had never seen the Prophet ﷺ, they were confused, and they thought Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala was the Prophet. Why? Because when they walked into Medina, the Prophet ﷺ was walking while Abu Bakr was riding. Why? Because it was Abu Bakr's turn to ride. You couldn't tell he was a leader. Eventually, the Sahaba radiallahu ajma'in convinced the Prophet ﷺ to build a mimbar so he could sit on top, so the people that came from outside, they would know he's the leader. He didn't want it. He didn't want to be looked like, he didn't want the position to be looked like he was a leader. So if we're going to be leaders, you should be the hardest worker. If you're not the hardest worker, you're not fit to be a leader. Number 2, pay attention to our weaknesses and properly assess whether we have good leadership qualities or not. If not, why would we still want to take such a responsibility? Not every Sahaba was a leader. Not every Sahabi was a leader of a group of people. Some were clearly advised to avoid those positions due to their temperament or their personality, then that's okay. Abu Zar radiallahu ta'ala is told, look at how the Prophet told them, I love for you what I love for myself, but don't ever be a leader. You're not fit for it. Look at your own weaknesses. Okay, I can't do it. Allah has not given me the skill, and that's okay. Where does it say that the leader will be given the highest position? The one that's serving and no one knows the khidmat that person did. The one who's cleaning the masjid have the highest status in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sayyidina Bilal radiallahu ta'ala was known as the khadim of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he said, Ya Bilal, what is it? What did you do? When I went to Jannah, I heard your footsteps preceding me. What did you do, O Bilal? Ya Rasulullah, I don't do anything. Maybe it's perhaps the fact that after I make wudu, I offer 2 rakats, tahiyatul wudu. Prophet said, that's it. There's no thing out there that the leader gets the highest position. So there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, I'm not fit to be a leader. And number 3, and the last one. Study the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the punishment of leaders who failed to be good leaders. So you're aware, you're cautious, you're conscious, okay, I can mess up and I'll be punished. I need to make my decision properly. Am I taking care of everyone properly? And to be a good leader, study the lives of the Khulafa al-Rashidin radiyallahu ta'ala ajma'in and how seriously they took their responsibility. Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala, another story. He had a policy that he would provide for people who were in need according to the amount of people in the household. But he would not include children who were still breastfeeding, and he wouldn't include infants. One day while patrolling the streets of Medina, he walked by a house and noticed a baby crying uncontrollably. He said in a loud tone to the mother, "Oh mother, what kind of mother are you? This child is clearly hungry and yet you do not feed him." The woman did not realize who she was speaking to. So she replied that she was trying to wean the child off to get him off of milk. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala asked how old the child was. She replied, he's only a few months. When he inquired why was she trying to wean the child off so early, she replied, the Khalifa does not give any financial support for children who are breastfeeding, who are infants, and we are in need of money to survive. Any babies have other expenses besides food? Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala immediately realized this mistake and told her not to wean him off, and he will ensure that the Khulafa or the Khalifa will take care of this. Umar radiallahu ta'ala cried the remainder of the night, and he kept saying to himself, "Oh Umar, how many children may have died because of you? How many kids have starved because of you? How will you answer to Allah? You're the Khalifa now? I'm the Khalifa." Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala is talking. I'm in a position that all these people are suffering because of me. I'm going to be responsible for this. So at Fajr time, he led the prayer. And the people could not even understand his recitation because he was crying uncontrollably. The whole night he was crying. After Fajr, he acknowledged his mistake and announced a new policy that even infants will be accounted for giving financial support. So it's not a position we all want. One person suffering that's under your service and under your authority, you didn't take care of them. You had access to zakat money, you didn't give it to those that were in need. You had access to some funds, or you had access to food, and you didn't give it to your neighbor. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses something that's so scary. وَقَالُوا رَبَّنَا إِنَّا أَطَعْنَا سَادَتَنَا وَكَبَرَاءَنَا فَأَضَلُّونَا السَّبِيلَ. Oh Allah, some people will say, the layman will say, the followers will say, "Oh Allah, we followed our leaders. Inna ata'na sadatana. We followed our leaders, Ya Allah. Wa kubara'ana. We followed our elders, Ya Allah. Fa'adalluna sabila, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, they misguided us, Ya Allah. We followed them. We obeyed them. They misguided us, Ya Allah. Rabbana atihim di'fayn min al-'adhab wal'anhum la'nan kabira. Oh Allah, give them double the punishment and curse them, Ya Allah, with a great curse." A failed leader will have their followers making dua against them. And on with this nation. This is the dua of the failed leaders, of the failed followers, of the followers of their failed leaders. But there is another dua. A dua made by the Prophet ﷺ himself. A dua made by the Prophet ﷺ himself. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala narrates, the hadith is in Sahih Muslim. That the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Allahumma man waliya min amri ummati shay'an fashaqqa alayhim fashquq alayhi wa man waliya min amri ummati shay'an farafaka bihim farfaq bihi. Rawahu Muslim. Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha reporting that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, O Allah, whomsoever from my ummah you gave someone authority, you gave someone from my ummah position, leadership, Ya Allah, فَشَقَّ عَلَيْهِمْ, and they caused distress to others, then O Allah, cause distress to them on the Day of Judgment. They want good parents, they want good leaders, they want good people that were in position. Oh Allah, they caused stress to others, cause them stress, Ya Allah. And oh Allah, whoever you gave a position of authority from my ummah, فَرَفَكَ بِهِمْ, and they were gentle to the people, then oh Allah, be gentle with them on the Day of Judgment. If Allah has granted us a position of leadership, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those people who are good leaders, who are people that are gentle to the people that we are responsible for. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove all of these diseases of the hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cleanse our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us a pure and a sound heart. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enter us all into Jannat al-Firdaus. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Wa akhir da'wana. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.